Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video, I'm talking about what it means to have your Mars conjunct to someone's Saturn in Synastry or vice versa. What happens when we have this intense karmic aspect? So, with this one, it can be very inhibiting to the Mars person. The Saturn person can really try to be like a fathering presence to the Mars person. So the Saturn person gets this eerily karmic feeling that the Mars person is like what they were when they were a child. So the Saturn person can really see in the Mars person like this youthful exuberance and feel the need to direct that. Now, if they're coming from a loving place, a compassionate place, they have, a sort of healed ish inner child, they can genuinely help the Mars person a lot. And the Mars person can really like channel and harness their Mars energies in a constructive way. And this could be a really good partnership for actual practical action and getting things done. It could be like a business partnership working on some type of project together. There is this instinct and this impulse that they do want to work together. And if this is a romantic relationship, there's a seriousness to it that it almost can feel more like a business partnership at times. It could show up in a relationship where someone, and it's hard to say exactly who, is using the other. It could be the Saturn person, feeling like the Mars person's energy, the Mars person's genius, or the way that they act is somehow going to be useful for the Saturn person. But it could also be the other way. It's Mars and Saturn are not super loving energies. These can be combined together in the most powerful aspect, the conjunction. Sometimes the less desirable qualities of each person will come out. It's almost as if the worst qualities at times of the Mars person and of the Saturn person can come out in this relationship. So Mars Saturn does not work as well as Venus Saturn. Mars Saturn aspects in synastry could be some of the worst or some of the most difficult or the most violent, because that's what could happen here, is that the Mars person could feel so restricted and so like demeaned by Saturn that they could erupt into a volcanic explosion. And the Saturn person can feel so jealous at the Mars person or of the Mars person that they can erupt as well. And it just can get really nasty. Now, it doesn't have to be that way for two sort of evolved people, but this conjunction is probably always going to be sort of uncomfortable. And like, even if you have the most beautiful synastry, there is still a very cool, restrictive effect. The Mars person could feel like the Saturn person is downright like an asshole or a jerk or just mean and cold. And the Saturn person can just feel like the Mars person, like they're almost a little bit like snobby towards them, or like that they're just immature, or they look at them, they could really look down on them, which is really interesting, like because Venus Saturn, we can still have a bit of that going on, but because Venus is so much more loving than Mars, it's like we can work with it and we can become better with that influence. But with this aspect, it's like really one person's ego has to be on at a time. It's like we don't have room for both of these egos, or it can get really ugly. So if the Mars person is comfortable at letting the Saturn person lead and direct their life a bit, and the Saturn person is comfortable with Mars's vitality and, letting them act without needing to control or micromanage everything that they do, then this can be a successful partnership where we work together and we become better together. Like, probably the highest manifestation that I could think of this aspect is like literally doing some type of physical work together. Like we're building a house, or we're, lifting weights, okay? And we're like, if we can get this energy physical, if we can, like, Saturn is time and dedication and Mars is action. So if we can combine this in a positive way where we're actually doing something physical, we're acting, we're creating something, this can work, and this can be a relationship that really creates something, like there's something to show for it. There's some growth here. There's even more than Venus-Saturn aspects, Mars-Saturn aspects can show sexual energy as well, because Mars is more directly sexual than Venus. So this aspect can show up in a relationship where there's a lot of sexual feelings for each other and a lack of being able to express them. So that could be another manifestation of it. Maybe you don't have any of the other negative effects of this, but you have a relationship where you are attracted, but for whatever reason, maybe you're both with other people, or you're from just a different background where it just would never work out, or there's a different age gap, or there's just something, like, for whatever reason, you cannot get together physically. That could be another manifestation of a Mars-Saturn aspect, or Mars-Saturn in the composite chart even, but I'm talking about Synastry in this video, where there's sexual feelings, but they are frustrated and we just can't get together. But if we do get together, we can have good sex with this aspect. It's not doomed. It's just difficult to get there. And Saturn needs to stop being jealous of Mars, and Mars needs to open up a little bit to Saturn's wisdom, and then they can be an okay couple that will still have a little bit of stiffness at times. So yeah, I'd love to know your experience of this aspect. Was it like this? Was it not like this? It's definitely something karmic, and it's to do with fathering energy. It's to do with our Mars principle, our body, our sexual impulses, our action, and our life direction, Saturn. So it's, it's hard to say exactly what the past life could be. I feel like similarly to Mars conjunct the South Node in Synastry, it's like you could have been in war together in the military against each other, or working on the same team. It's hard to say, but there's some sort of karmic energy there of that nature. But I'd love to know your experience of this aspect. Was it like this? Was it not like this? Thanks for watching, you guys, and thanks for requesting this. Let me know your requests in the comments, and talk soon.